Representative Pam Altendorf here with an update at what's happening in the Minnesota State Legislature. So now that we're past Easter break, we are starting a new season here. We're moving into what I'm going to call Omnibus Bill season. So at the beginning, we were working a lot on our committees, and for me, I was on the Elections Committee, Education, and also the Energy Committee. And so we would have scheduled times to meet. And now what's basically happening, so being a Republican and being in the minority party, on every committee, there's always more Democrats that are sitting on the committee than the Republicans. And the chairs, the people leading the committees, are also Democrats. And so it's a difficult year to get your priorities heard or to get past being a Republican. Being on these different committees, what typically happens is the Democrat chairs pick and hear what bills are going to be heard. So at the beginning of this session, what we've gone through is sitting through the committees, and we have listened and heard many different bills go through the committees. So what's happening now that the committee meeting session is done is we're moving into the next phase, which is Omnibus Bill season. And many people who are familiar with Omnibus Bills and really know, and I challenge you if you don't know to really maybe spend some time looking at this, but Omnibus Bills are basically, we are now taking many different bills that were heard during the committees, and we're piling them all into one bill. And so really a lot of negatives come with that, because it's an easy way for politicians to hide a bad bill, but then it gives political cover to your party. So you can say, well, we had a vote for this because it had, A, B, and C in it, and we're just going to ignore that it has some of this bad stuff, or what you might call pork or pet projects. Maybe it's paybacks, for people politically, and nobody wants to talk about that. But that's basically what's happening now, is all of these omnibus bills are going to start coming to the floor. And even within the omnibus bills or the committees, sometimes they're combining committees. And so like I'm on the Energy Committee, but the omnibus bill for energy is going to be environment and energy actually combined into one bill. So if you can imagine, that's going to be a huge bill. Now, that's not scheduled yet for the floor, so I'm not sure when that's coming. Today, we heard a couple of our first omnibus bills, and one was for the legacy omnibus bill. And I want to tell you, if you're a Republican or a conservative by nature, or if you're just someone with common sense and you would like the government to use your tax dollars wisely, that you don't like fraud and abuse, and you want some accountability within the government. If you're one of those people, I'll tell you, today we had a win, and we always have to celebrate our wins here at the Minnesota State Legislature. Today was a win. We had Representative Josh Heinzman. He offered 2 amendments on the legacy omnibus bill. Now, I'll put in the comments, I'll take a snapshot and I'll put it in the comments, but 2 amendments. One was that we would not be funding any group, if you can believe this, that we would have to have an amendment, but that we would not fund any group that is in any way supporting domestic terrorism or is linked to any criminal activities. So that actually was an amendment that Representative Heinzman, a Republican, offered on the legacy bill. And you might wonder, why that's necessary, but it truly was necessary to have this amendment. And many of the Democrats, I don't have the number, I'll try to get the picture of the board, but they were kind of backed into a wall on this vote, because if they voted against it, you're basically saying that you don't mind if there's domestic terrorism or criminal activity in the things that we're funding in the legacy bill. So it did kind of back the Democrats into a wall. And it was a little amazing for me to watch. I mean, I guess it shouldn't be surprising, but I do think it was a little amazing. A lot of the Democrats literally abstained from the vote. They just didn't take the vote. They left it a board. You know, they didn't vote yes and they didn't vote no because they didn't want to take that no vote. Maybe they're in a vulnerable area. But I just thought, you know, how shocking. How can you, as a Democrat, how can you not just on good conscience say, yeah, I'm going to take a yes vote, that I do agree with this amendment, that we should not be funding anyone, you know, that has some sort of criminal activities tied to them. So yay for Josh Heitzman and for the Republicans. We got a win. It's very unusual for them to accept an amendment. And like I said, I feel like this just backed them into a corner. And then the other one was a similar amendment that we said we would not fund any nonprofits that someone associated with that nonprofit, so someone on the board or someone associated with a nonprofit within the last 24 months had been charged with some sort of sexual crime. And again, we had the same thing. A lot of the Democrats abstained from that vote, and they did not take the vote, but it passed. And so, yay, we got a couple of good amendments in there for, like I said, it's not necessarily for Republicans. It's for any common sense person that just wants our tax dollars to be going in a good way and to be not wasted, and to also not to be going to nefarious nonprofits or groups. I'll put in the comments after my live. The reason why this amendment was offered was there was a nonprofit in this legacy bill that was slated to get our tax dollars, to get money, and this is exactly what had happened. Was someone had been charged with some sort of sexual crime. I'm not sure what it was, sexual abuse, sexual harassment crime. And so I'll put that link in the comments, but that is why those two amendments were offered. And again, it's always encouraging or nice for us to just have a couple of wins here in the Minnesota State Legislature. Coming up tomorrow, real quick, we're hearing Elections Bill HF3. Now, this is interesting, but elections, I'm on the Elections Committee, and I am told that prior to me being here, that elections has always been, you know, nonpartisan, and that makes perfect sense, that you want your bills you want it to be secure. You want both parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, to agree. This should be one area that should not be political, and it should not be biased in any way. You want people to be confident in our vote. And it is very, very disappointing sitting on that elections committee this year. Not only did they not hear or, you know, like really support any of the Republicans' bills coming through the election committee. I think maybe they heard one as a little token. But, you know, we want, in a time when many, many Minnesotans, many, many Americans are questioning the election integrity, I believe we should be putting all of our focus in areas that it's showing the public that we are supporting our election system, that it's simple, it's transparent, and to build our confidence. And I just think that makes a lot of sense. You know, so with the Democrats having this trifecta, they literally have the governor, the Senate, the House, they have full control of our state government. One might wonder, why then are they trying to mess with our election system so much, right? I mean, because if they have the trifecta and they have full ownership of the government, why are they messing with the system that obviously people are voting for them? So it's very, I would say, disheartening to see they're bringing things forward in the bill tomorrow. It's things like 16 and 17-year-olds will be automatically registered to vote, you know, through once they get their driver's license. So through the DMV. And it's just like, these are the kind of things that you just have to ask, is this making our elections more secure or less secure? Is it making more people question our vote elections, or is it really building that confidence? And so I would argue anytime we're doing something with our elections, when we're already having a time where people are questioning our elections, anything we're doing to change our elections, I really question why we would do this at a time like this. We want people to feel supported. We want people to feel that the elections are secure. Another thing that's coming through on HF3 tomorrow is absentee voters are automatically registered for life. So as of right now in Minnesota, if you want to get an absentee ballot, you do something, you request that ballot and it triggers that the state of Minnesota sends the absentee ballot to you, you vote, you send it in. Well, another part of this bill is that absentee ballot, once you get it the first time, it just continues to come to you for life. Just continues to go to that same address for life. And to me, again, this opens up, okay, people are moving. Maybe you were at an apartment. Maybe it was a student, like a college student. Well, how many times do college students flip over their housing? So to me, instead of making us feel more secure about our elections, these type of things are making me feel like it's loosening up the elections, it's less secure, and that's concerning to me. But those are just a couple things that are happening at the Capitol. Again, we had some wins today on the legacy bill by getting those amendments accepted. And we also had another win that with these omnibus bills, like I said, they keep on piling all this stuff into one bill, and then you have to vote on it, and it's discouraging, or it's political cover, whichever way you want to look at it. If you're in the minority party, it's discouraging because there's so much junk in here that you don't want to vote for. But if you're in the majority party, you love the omnibus bills because it's political cover. There's some really bad bills that'll be shoved into the omnibus bills, but then they can go, well, I had to vote for it because it had this. Well, I'm going to leave you with one more win that we had, and that was that they were going to take the veterans bill, which last year traveled as a standalone bill, which I absolutely support. We should not be putting the veterans into any other thing. But last year was a standalone bill, and it was a green board, meaning Democrats, Republicans, everybody agreed on the veterans bill. We want to support our veterans. We want to get them the funding that they need. Well, this year they were at the point of combining the veterans bill, and they were putting it in, I think it was government, small government, something like that, and elections. But it was going to be in this big omnibus bill. The veterans were going to be combined. And another win was the Republicans did put quite a bit of pressure on the Democrats, and we were like, no, keep the veterans separate, keep them out of this big omnibus bill. Just take a clean vote on the veterans, and that's best for all parties, plus the veterans. They've served our country, they protected us, and they do not need to be in a big giant omnibus bill providing political cover for people to take bad votes. So a couple of wins this week. It's good to see you. I'll try to be doing some more updates as these omnibus bills are rolling through and let you know what's going on here at the state capitol. So be blessed, and I love you, and keep fighting the good fight and get involved locally. That's what we have to do, is we have to keep on educating, communicating, letting people know what's happening, and get involved locally at the city level, at the school level, anything you can do. Too many years I think we were asleep and lazy and not paying attention, but that's really how we make changes here in Minnesota, is starting at the local level. So thanks everyone. We're fighting here in St. Paul for you at the state capitol, and we'll keep working hard and being a strong voice for you in Minnesota. Common sense, less government, more freedom. That's what we're all about. So thanks everyone. Bye-bye.